Okay, it is the time a lot of people have been waiting for. Patch 9.0, the first major big balance patch is here. It brings a lot of card changes, so we're going to talk about those. There's a lot of game changes as well, some UI stuff, XP changes, expedition changes. I'm not going to get into any of that. This is going to be just specifically card changes themselves. If you want the full patch notes, I have a link down below that has all the full official patch notes that talks about expedition changes, UI, XP. There's just a whole bunch of other changes, but I'm just going to talk about cards. So let's get into it. Okay, balance change time. So first card we want to talk about is Lux. So Lux got a stat increase. She's gone from 3-4 to 4-5 on her first level. When she levels up, she went from a 4-5 to a 5-6. This is interesting, and I like it because Lux isn't seeing enough play, and so a little stat boost hopefully is enough to help her out, keep her alive long enough to actually get her ability to go off, and is pretty welcome, and hopefully we see more Lux play now. The next one we have is Yasuo. So Yasuo, what they did was they made it to where instead of having to stun 6+ units to level up, only have to stun 5+ units to level up. This is another one. Yasuo, again, just isn't seeing a ton of play. He's seeing some play, but this hopefully will allow it to complete the quest easier so that he can level up and be better. So buff on the champions, which is pretty sweet. So this here is a nerf that a lot of people have been asking for, and pretty much everyone saw coming. So we got a slight nerf to Deny. So Deny went from 3 mana to 4 mana, essentially making it to where you can't cast it for free. There's a lot of feels bad moments with the card when people cast it for what feels like essentially free. So by increasing it by 4 mana, you can't only use your spell mana to cast it. Hopefully make it a little less feel bad, for lack of a better term. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that tones down the power level of Deny. All right, next is another one that I saw coming. I've been talking about happening for a long time. Raza the Sunderer got a slight nerf. Took its mana from 7 up to 8. Very small. The ability stayed the same. Still has Fearsome. Still a 7/5 body. The reasoning was, now you have to cast it 1 turn later. There's less you can do on the same turn you play Raza. And I know in like expeditions, Raza just is insane. And so this tones it down a little bit in there as well. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another nerf of Raza, like getting rid of Fearsome or something. But for now, I like the idea of small nerfs, and the small nerf we got Raza 7 to 8 mana. All right, we have another card that a lot of people have been asking to get nerfed, and that is Commander Ledros. So he went now from 8 mana to 9 mana, but interestingly, they also increased his attack from 8 to 9 attack. I think that's fine. That's not usually the reason you're playing him. And then the other big thing that got nerfed is it cuts the enemy Nexus health in half, but it rounds up. So this will prevent him from being able to kill the Nexus when it's at 1 health, which I personally really like. I hate that it can just kill you if you're at 1 health just by him being plagued. I feel like I love the ability of him having the Nexus. I love that. It just kind of sucks when they can just keep like replaying him over and over and over and slowly just kill you without having to do anything. And now at least they have to get an attacker in or some direct damage spell or something, and they can't use him as the only way to win the game. So I like this. We will see if he gets reworked any more. But yeah, that's the Commander Ledros nerf. All right, next we have another card that has been begging to get nerfed for quite a while, seeing a lot of play, and that's Wraith Collar. So with Wraith Collar, all they did was remove Fearsome from it. Still a 4/3 for 4, still a Legion Summon a Mistwraith, but now it just doesn't have the Fearsome keyword. I really like this. I think it's a tasteful nerf. I think it having Fearsome on a 4 attack body is insane and closes out games so fast. Something to note in the patch notes, they do say that they're looking at the Fearsome mechanic as a whole and kind of watching it. It's on their watch list of things that they're looking into. Just because Fearsome is so powerful. So they are looking at Fearsome in general, but they took Fearsome off of the Wraith Collar. I really like it. I think it's tasteful. So it still should allow the Wraith Collar decks, the Mistwraith decks, to still be very strong. But this definitely is a big power hit to the card itself. All right, next up we have the Inspiring Mentor, and this is a very interesting one. So they increased his health up from 1 to 2, but then they made it to where his playability is grant an ally in your hand +1/+0 instead of +1/+1. They talk about it in the patch notes where this is kind of an indirect nerf to elusives as a whole, because a lot of times the elusives get so powerful from this card getting bounced 3,000 times from the Navari Conspirator. So this not increasing the health of the elusive units make them easier to kill. So like the Glade duo now staying at 1 health instead of getting the increased extra health multiple times should allow people to deal with elusives a little easier. And then the card, since they did nerf it a bit, they increase his health, which is I kind of like that. I love seeing where they, you know, take some part of a card, make it worse, so they increase something else to kind of balance it out. I think this is a very tasteful nerf to elusives. Like being able to buff them so far out of range of removal is one reason that they are so frustrating to play against. And so we will see if this helps out a lot. Next up, we have the Kinky Lifeblade. So this is another card that it can be very infuriating to play against. One of my least favorite cards to play against, and they changed it to where now instead of being a 2/3 follower, it is a 2/2. So they reduced its health by 1. Again, they were talking about how they didn't want elusive units to be too far out of range of removal, and this allows you to kill it with things like Mystic Shot a lot easier. So I think it's really good. I like it. We'll see from these two, from the Inspiring Mentor and the Kinky Lifeblade, if that's enough to kind of tone down the power level of elusives in general. I think it should help a bit, but only time would tell. All right, the next card we have is Back to Back. This is another card that the community in general, a lot of people have been just talking about it being a little too powerful for its mana cost. So they changed it from 5 mana to 6 mana. Still burst speed, still give 2 allies +3/+3, but just a little more mana. So it makes it a little harder to cast sometimes, harder to squeeze in. The card is still nuts and still bonkers. I don't think that it reduces its play, but it does make it a little more fair. So this is another card that I also would not be surprised to see if it gets changed again in the future. But I'm all for small incremental nerfs instead of just grinding a card into the ground. So I like it. We should still see play, but make it a little weaker. All right, the next cards I want to talk about are all going to be buffs. So this one here, we have a buff to Arena Battlecasters. So this is a very interesting and a very cool unit. This follower is really fun. I love him in Expeditions. He's a blast to play, but he always dies like instantly. So they increase his health. So now he's a 2/2 follower instead of a 2/1. I love this. It lets you be able to attack maybe another extra turn with him, because it always sucks you attack and they block with a 1 health or 1 attack follower, and you're just like, I got no value from him. So this should at least let you get in a couple attacks with him. Very cool. We will see if that makes him a little better, but I like it. All right, next up we have a buff to the Crimson Curator. So he's going from a 3/2 follower to a 3/3 follower. So they increase his health by 1. I really, really like this. I think that the Crimson units need health because you're trying to damage them. And this should be able to get you, you know, a couple more Crimson followers to your hand, which is really awesome. Hopefully this is enough to make the Crimson Vladimir archetype work a little better, because he's such an awesome follower. But the thing is, he's only ever giving you like one thing before. So hopefully this little bump in health will help the archetype as a whole. And I think it's pretty sweet. So next we have a buff to the Jeweled Protector. He's going from a 3/3 follower up to a 4/4 follower. Make his stats a little better, hopefully make him a little more playable, because before he's just a 3/3 for 5, which feels pretty bad to play. But now, you know, he's a little better. Hopefully he sees a little more play. It's such a cool effect being able to buff up an ally in your hand. It's very slow, and being a 3/3 was kind of rough. So we will see if this helps. But yeah, 4/4 on the Jeweled Protector now. All right, this next one's a little interesting. So in the patch notes, they talk about how they're nerfing so many cards from Shadow Isles. They wanted to give Shadow Isles some kind of a buff. So what they did is they buffed Scuttle Geist. So Scuttle Geist now, they added the Fearsome keyword, which is funny because they were just talking about, you know, Fearsome being a mechanic that they're looking into potentially changing in the future. But adding Fearsome to a 5/5 follower is awesome, because this guy takes a little bit of work to make it good or playable, because you do have to have a bunch of your dudes die. But if you do that, this could be a payoff for any of the like aristocrat type, and that's a term for Magic, I don't know why I use that, but any of the like self-sacrifice themed decks around like the Undying and stuff, you get a payoff for going late into the game. It's pretty cool. We'll see if Scuttlegeist gets more played. This definitely helps Expeditions, because he can be a real bomb in Expeditions. A lot of times being just like a 0 or 1 mana 5/5 body's pretty good. Now with Fearsome, pretty cool. And then the last card we have changed is the Tortured Prodigy. It is going from a 3/4 follower to a 4/4 follower. This is another one of those really interesting effects. Being able to refill your spell mana whenever an ally dies is very unique and very interesting. And so maybe we can see some sort of combos with this, you know, with Glimpse, kill your guy, draw a couple cards, refill your spell mana. Who knows? Pretty cool stuff. I like it. I don't know if it's good enough to see more play, but a lot of times this is another card that you play in Expeditions because it just is in your bucket sometimes. So it's pretty sweet. I like that. A couple small little card buffs to Shadow Isles to help kind of like ease the pain of some of the nerfs. And so those are all of the buffs and nerfs of the cards. So there you have it. Those are all the card changes for patch 9.0. There's quite a few, a lot of changes, a lot of small changes, which I like. I am a huge fan of just changing little bits here and there, especially since they are trying to do this every couple weeks. I like the small changes. I hope they stick to it because I don't like it when a card gets nerfed so hard into the ground that it's no longer playable. So I like little tweaks, especially, I mean, we are still in beta. So they want to make sure these cards are where they want them to be upon release, because that's our job as beta testers, to make sure the game is polished and beautiful and wonderful by the time it comes out. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped. I hope you appreciate it. I plan on doing this for every single patch. So if you like it, I'm going to keep doing it. If you don't watch the video. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. You're amazing. And until next time, you stay saucy. Oh, well, he just kills us. Okay. It's progress day. Oh my God. Please tell me this works. Okay. Yeah! Someone has to clip that. Someone has to clip that. Oh my God. That was insane. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like what you saw, it would mean a ton if you would hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification to be notified when I post some videos, share this with your friends, all that kind of stuff. You're amazing. I love you. And until next time, you stay saucy.